It's seat at the banquet of the good life. The quest isn't merely affording the best, it's finding the best. Fame and fortune, the final frontier. Your host is Robin Leach, who circles the globe to uncover the stories the world will never stop talking about. Roy Orbison reveals the eerie parallels with Elvis from the early days, then how his music helped him survive a triple tragedy, and why today's chartbusters all want to sing with the Man in Black. On-screen action man off screens. Stay with us. Drive the bumpy road, plus the billionaires who really...
I've been burning for so long.
A living legend of rock and roll royalty, his reign spans 3 decades and has survived every change in musical trends. The Big O couldn't relinquish the crown if he wanted to. Though he could retire in luxury from mega hits from Blue Bayou to Crying, a new generation of rockers, once kids who lip-sync to Only the Lonely in the Bedroom Mirror, are lining up to sing with the Man in Black. With his guitar enshrined in the West Coast Hard Rock Cafe, it's little wonder fans suspect Roy Orbison has seen it all from behind the dark shades. Yet he remains a man of mystery. Robin sent West Coast reporter Malcolm Boyes on special assignment to find out how rock's multi-millionaire survivor spends his money.
For Roy Orbison, shopping for flashy fashions on LA's trendy Melrose Avenue is like stepping back in time. When he strolls into boutiques like Let It Rock, it brings back youthful memories of his early days in Memphis, Tennessee.
It's like the first store I ever went into, like being back on Beale Street in Memphis. We used to go and we buy chartreuse coats and lace shirts and pointed shoes and pink and black vests. There's a big change in the price, although you can still get some good clothes for not too much money.
Orbison arrived in Memphis penniless in 1955 from the windswept wilds of Wink, Texas. Johnny Cash brought the youngster into the now historic Sun Studios, but before he recorded his first hit, Ooby Dooby, he struck a common chord of friendship with a young rival rocker, Elvis Presley.
If you played a guitar in those days and sang, you were Elvis. That was Elvis. And I was too big a fan of Elvis's to let that bother me. But my first tour was the same first tour that he had, exactly the same cities. My first record company was his first record company. My first manager was his first manager. And the first girl I dated on the road was his first date on the road.
By the time he toured England in the 60s, the back-to-back hits, It's Over and Oh Pretty Woman, made him the #1 star on both sides of the Atlantic. And although it was at the height of the British invasion, the Fab Four were his opening act.
I more or less predicted the success. I felt that John was a kindred soul. Now, he was more like me, probably, than the others were. I don't know. Just a little feeling, I guess. Not any closer, just more simpatico.
But while his contemporaries were known for their flashy stage antics, Roy hid behind his dark glasses after they mistakenly became his trademark. The singer had grabbed the wrong pair on an early tour, and he's been living down stories that he's blind ever since. Roy Orbison's had a reputation as a rock and roll recluse since he burst onto the scene in the 50s. Now the multi-millionaire legends move from Nashville to Malibu, out of the shadows and right into the spotlight. Today, Roy lovingly shares his palatial California home with his beautiful wife Barbara and their 2 children.
I don't do a lot of television, don't do a lot of press. I'm not really a recluse. I wondered why I hadn't been here all these years. It's very peaceful and it has a calming effect. I don't know what it is about the ocean or water, but being close to it kind of settles me down a little bit.
The Orbisons are no country bumpkins, and all those decades of gold discs have allowed them to decorate their new home with priceless antiques, while the driveway is filled with the finest exotic cars from Europe and America. The California lifestyle suits them perfectly.
When you drive up to this place and you actually come to the house, you feel like you live in the country. You're away from everything. It's real peaceful, and the air is wonderful.
Malibu is a bright new beginning for this multi-talented superstar, whose life has been a roller coaster ride of tragedy and triumph. At the height of his career in the 60s, his first wife Claudette was killed in a motorcycle accident. Within months, 2 of their 3 children died in a fire. Roy worked his way back from the tragedy, only to undergo triple heart bypass surgery a few years ago.
I said, well, leave me a nice scar, because I don't wear ties or anything. and I wear open-neck shirts. And he said, I'm trying to save your life, son. And I didn't understand what he was talking about. But anyway, I came out of that, and I was working 90 days later to make sure that I could work.
Roy attributes his incredible resilience to his strong relationship with his wife Barbara of 17 years. During the tough times, she stood by her man, helping him avoid the rock and roll pitfalls of drink and drugs.
Being a family man helps you avoid that. Also, I was in the business a good long while before it was the thing to do to be very rowdy.
You know, we love each other. I have learned to accept Roy, and I think he has learned to accept me. And it's wonderful.
And while his career demands a life on the road, his wife and kids are #1 on his chart.
It's difficult to explain because my career is very, very important to me. But only for them, you know, only for us. They bring me tapes, and they play those, and I get to see what's happening, what they like.
And now Roy's looking forward to rocking into a ripe old age, hiring one of Hollywood's top fitness trainers, Jackson Salzer, to make house calls.
I was a non-exerciser and a smoker, you know, not much of a drinker, but pretty much of a rabble-rouser. I didn't modify anything to begin with. You know, I was still trying to hang on and be everything that I wasn't before. But it doesn't work. Eventually you have to use a little common sense and good judgment.
30 years after first hitting the charts, Roy's career is in full swing. He has the Class of '55 album on release with Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Johnny Cash, and a new album waiting in the wings.
I function a lot better as a human being when I'm working like that. And I'm a better father and a better husband and a better friend and better everything.
And despite the deep scars of tragedy and the amazing successes, he's always kept his tapping feet firmly on the ground.
If your attitude is that you go ahead on with your life and let everything else catch up to you, then it doesn't hit you hard. But I've always tried to be as natural as I could about everything and let it come out how it would.
And talk with rock legend Roy Orbison.